All right, what's up, my brother? So in this video, we've got a request to cover the ultimate guide for dating in your 50s, I suppose is the best way to sum it up. This comes from Mark. He says it's a nightmare. Menopausal 40 to 50-year-olds, loads of baggage in 30s and 40s, and entitled 20-year-old brats, I guess is probably the best way to summarize that. He says all ranges equal a nightmare. Well, I've got a girlfriend right now, so thankfully I'm not dealing with this BS, and that frees up a lot of my time to do work and chase excellence. But I get it. A lot of guys have complained about this sort of concept, and I've talked to a lot of dudes in their 50s that have dealt with some serious struggles getting back into the dating marketplace, whether you've been married and divorced or whatever happens to be happening in your life at that time. And I think it's important to understand that, you know, the dating game's changed for a lot of people, especially those guys that have been married for a long time. So listen up, the youngsters out there, because this is what you're going to be in for. The guys in the 50s that are watching this, I've got some answers for you. And ladies that are watching this, well, you might learn a few lessons as I kind of run through some of the issues that exist and what I think guys should do about it. So let's start with the oldest range down to the youngest range that he was contemplating dating, because I think this is the range most guys in their 50s will look at, obviously. I mean, the better shape that you're in, the more money you have, the more interesting and captivating you are, the more options you're obviously going to have. So those dating ranges open up a lot for guys, for seasoned men, let's say, with a little bit of salt and pepper in their hair or their beard, as far as options to date. They can go as young as into the 20s, or, you know, some of these guys prefer more seasoned women into their 50s. But the first complaint he's got, the menopausal women in their 40s and 50s. Look, I'm not personally attracted to older women, so I haven't dated in that range much, if I'm being honest. There's a few that were in real good shape when I was single that I dated, and what he's talking about is true. There's all kinds of issues that exist, and a lot of the times, even though he mentioned it in the 30s and 40s, was talking about baggage, I think one of the things that exists as women get older in general is they tend to hold on to baggage a little bit more than what I've seen guys. Guys do as well, don't get me wrong, but women, when it comes to, you know, the amount of he hurt me, he abused me, he was a bad relationship, he took advantage of me, he insert whatever issue, and it's like every he did something to me is some guy that they might have dated for a short period of time, long period of time, or even were in a long-term relationship with for a few years. Every one of those guys, you can write whatever issue happened on a brick with a Sharpie and put it in a burlap bag and throw it over her shoulder, because she carries that shit around like it's a badge of honor. And if we're being honest, it really isn't. It's nothing to be proud about. It's nothing to brag about. It's nothing that nobody even sees, because it's an invisible burlap bag full of your baggage. And it's heavy, and it weighs the woman down, and it weighs down the relationship, and it makes it hard for the guy to have a pleasant experience dating her, because she's often guarded. Oh, because so-and-so did this to me, then I'm going to assume that either all men are like that, or you might potentially do that to me as well, or blah, 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 blah. And there's not a basket case, there's a lot of mental cases out there, and again, I don't see people doing the work on that and sort of like moving through it and trying to understand why. I think guys are more logical in a sense, where if something goes sideways, they look for logical reasons to sort of get some answers as to why that happened, and they kind of work through it, sort of stuff. I don't see that happen as much as with the ladies. So I think the older the ladies get, and when you're talking about the 40s, 50s, yeah, you're dealing with menopausal women. There's a reality that comes with that. You know, with men, their testosterone levels drop about 1% per year from the age of 30 on, and you can pretty much fix that with testosterone replacement therapy, you know, from a doctor or from a clinic. The hormone replacement therapy clinics, they work very well to solve those sorts of problems. There's clinics that deal with women as well, but you can't balance a woman's hormones the same way that you can with men, because when women go through menopause, the eggs stop dropping, and you can't make those happening. It's not like you can inject that or that happens. What they do is they give them a different cocktail, a different mixture of estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, sometimes DHA. There's a whole bunch of different things they give them to try to fix that, the moods, the hot flash, the cold flash. So it's a serious set of issues that you're going to deal with. You probably deal with less brattiness and entitledness, although that's not always true with older women, but they can be a little easier to deal with. I think by the time they hit their 40s, they generally understand that their sexual market value isn't as high as a gal in her 20s. Although, again, it's not always true. There's a lot of delusional women out there that think that they deserve, you know, a Brad Pitt with loads of bank and a couple of yachts and a plane and lots of vacation homes, and all they bring to the table is a bunch of debt and 2 or 3 kids, probably from 2 or 3 different fathers in tow. So there's that to contemplate. One of the best things I think that you can do, guys, especially if you're in your 50s and you're looking at, you know, getting out and dating and trying to make your experience a little bit better anyway, is definitely read my book if you haven't already. If you're not a reader, it's available on Audible. If you don't listen to stuff like that, you can at least just download the chapter on the 20 red flags from my book, which is pinned below in the top comment. You just have to opt into my email list and you can read that for free. Vetting for red flags, I think, is really important. And if you do that, you're gonna avoid or miss a lot of the potential train wrecks that'll come your way, especially if you're in your 50s and you're looking to, you know, have a pleasant, easy, lucrative and fun life, you know, if you will, without any drama or complicated issues. The other thing too is we kind of move down the range into the 30s and 40s. You're going to get a lot of women with young children in tow. It's pretty common for women to wait later in life now before they start having kids. Usually what ends up happening if they haven't been married is they start reaching this epiphany phase where they realize, oh boy, all my girlfriends are having kids, all my siblings are having kids, where are my kids? I need to find a guy. Sometimes they'll resort to desperate measures, sperm banks. Sometimes I've seen screenshots of them going online and basically saying, I like cream pies, just go, because I'm looking to have kids and I want to be a single mother by choice. So there's any number of areas in that spectrum that they can land on, but bottom line is you're going to be dealing with a lot of gals out there with some small kids in tow. And I think the worst thing you guys can do, and I dedicated an entire chapter in my book, The Unplugged Alpha, again available on Amazon, to why guys should avoid dating single moms. They are out there, there's a lot of them, some are beautiful, you know, we've all dated them, but they bring a certain level of complexity into your life that women without kids don't bring. So one of the strongest pieces of advice that I really encourage you guys to follow and not deviate from is, if you want to get into a long-term relationship with a gal, fine, do it, but avoid women with small children in tow. You will force yourself into a position where you become a cuckold, where you're going to have to raise another man's seed, provide for them. You're going to be expected to have all of the responsibility of a parent, meaning pay for vacations, pay for Christmas gifts, for birthday parties, maybe even accommodations. Some guys make the ultimate mistake of moving them into their homes, but you'll have no authority over parenting them. And at some point, you're going to hear some bullshit like, F you, you're not my father, I don't need to listen to you. So contemplate that big fat red pill when it comes to dating single mommies. Then he goes down to the gals in their 20s, entitlement. And well, look, you know, this is the generation that's grown up essentially on social media and screens. You know, there's a lot of women in their 20s who are absolutely stunning, beautiful, and gorgeous, but they bring a certain level of entitlement. And at the same time, if you're a guy in your 50s and you're dating a chick in her 20s, a lot of them are not that mature, and they're generally going to be looking at you as an ATM. You're going to be their pocketbook, you're going to be their sugar daddy, you're going to pay for their shit generally, is how they treat you. So you'll be the beta bucks, you're going to fork over the money to pay for shit, and they'll probably have some alpha dude on the side who's about the same age as her, you know, that can do things that you can't do anymore because you're in your 50s and you got to rely on other things to make sure things are working properly, and he's just tickety-boo. So there's that issue that's going to come up, and you don't want to lead with your wallet. You don't want to get into any kind of long-term relationship with a gal where it's all about, well, I've got money, so I'm going to take care of everything, because she's never really going to have genuine burning desire for you. She's never going to genuinely want to be with you enthusiastically in the way that she hooks up with a guy in the nightclub, in the bathroom, or in the back of his car a few hours after meeting him, maybe even 20 minutes, you know, it happens. So my advice to guys, after we've kind of gone through all those potential red zones, is yes, they exist, understand what they are, and again, if you really want to dive down the rabbit hole of what they are and how they exist and how to spot them, read the damn book, okay? I know it's about a 5 or 6 hour read, or it's a 5 or 6 hour listen, but just go through it. It gets through all the details. This all essentially boils down to one thing and one thing only. Why are you at a stage in your life where you are still relying on women for love, intimacy, companionship? A lot of the guys are all about friendship, you know, I'm looking for my best friend sort of thing. You're plugged into the matrix, guys. You're plugged into lies. You're plugged into society's comforting BS that you've been sold your entire life. And how's that been working out for you? If you're in your 50s and you're watching this and you're like, okay, yeah, nodding your head, how's that working out for you? How has believing that there's a soulmate out there that You need to find that gal to complete you. You complete me, Jerry Maguire, right? Sure. Maybe they exist. Maybe there is a few of them out there that don't bring the drama, that don't bring the headaches, that don't bring the children in tow, that don't bring like the baggage and all that sort of stuff. It's rare, man. The older women get, the more baggage they have, the chances are that they're going to have kids if they're in their 30s, maybe early 40s. They could be divorced, have a whole bunch of them. You don't know, right? The point that I'm making here is, why aren't you prioritizing that friendship and companionship part of the equation that you're seeking with male friends? Why don't you have a group of guys that you can rely on to do cool, fun shit and have laughs and stuff like that? It doesn't matter where you find that. It really doesn't matter where you connect with that, whether it's on the golf course, whether it's in a fighting dojo, whether it's in a model building club where you build the planes that you fly, whatever it happens to be. Why can't you find it there? Why are you trying to rely on women still to fill that void for you, for that companionship, for that friendship? I mean, the love and the intimacy, I get it, right? Some guys would argue, well, you know, you can get love from a dog, right? A dog will love you in an unconditional way that a woman will never love you, right? The intimacy part is totally separate. But a lot of that you can deal with just by connecting with like-minded men. I mean, I do it on supercar rallies. I've always been a car guy. I've always wanted faster, better cars, so that's just been my jam. And I found by joining one of Toronto's largest supercar clubs and doing rallies and road trips, I've put probably well over 40,000 kilometers in total in all cars that I've done 3 to 6 day rallies on. I've done multiple of them. And I have some of my best friends right now. Like when we go to different towns, and we've been to Chicago, Boston, New York City, Manhattan, we've been to Lexington, Kentucky, we've been to all these different cities throughout the east coast of North America, driving the Adirondack Mountains. And at nighttime when we get together, we have the best laughs, the best meals, the best dinners, you know, get up early, we rip the roads together, we've got a radio system, we have an anti-fuzz system, we have everything dialed in. These are my boys, right? And my girlfriend comes along for the ride sometimes. You know, she'll do some of the rallies, others she doesn't because she doesn't like some of the roads or some of it's too scary for her. That's fine, you know. But the connections that I have and that I'm looking for, I find amongst those men. And I think that's one of the great mistakes that guys have today, is they aren't relying on other men for friendships, companionships, and to do cool shit, right? Because let's be honest, men and women don't have a lot of the same interests and options. My girlfriend's a great chick. She doesn't bring much baggage. She's in my frame. If I ask her something like, hey, do me a solid, I got these new shirts that came in, can you iron them for me? No problem, no pushback, no, I ain't your slave, none of that stuff. It's very, she's friendly, she's beautiful, she cooks, she does all that stuff. Is she perfect? No. But the point that I'm making is I don't rely on her for the friendship part of it. A lot of guys make a woman their entire world, or they're looking to make a woman their entire world, especially in their 50s, right? And it's like, why? What do you like? What do you want to do that you haven't done that you have to do with a woman, is basically what I'm asking you, okay? Sometimes it'd be nice to bring her along for the ride, right? Like I like having my gal in, she's good with the maps and with co-navigation. Like sometimes it's great, you know, to have her along when I'm on the boat, for example. She packs a nice lunch or a nice picnic sort of thing for us to eat on the boat. She looks great in a bikini. You know, like they have a place, but I think a lot of the big mistakes that guys make is like they're looking for everything in one chick, right? And one of the things that I learned a long time ago, and I've said this before and I'll repeat it again, you can have it all, you just can't have it all at the same time in one person, right? One chick can't fulfill all of your hopes, dreams, desires, needs, wants, and passions, and all that sort of stuff. It's basically impossible, right? A lot of the fun stuff that you guys should be doing, a lot of the camaraderie, a lot of the, you know, when you check your boys, you know, when you razz them sort of thing, right? That's done with other men. Do it on the golf course, do it at the model airplane club, do it on supercar rallies, whatever your thing happens to be, fishing trips, skiing trips, whatever your thing, hiking trips, cycling trips, whatever it happens to be. You're a grown-ass man now, you're 50, you should be out there going, hey boys, we're going to Italy, we're gonna get some road bikes and we're gonna do top to bottom this summer over 5 or 6 weeks. Find guys like that, and don't ask me where to find them. I'm not gonna introduce you to those guys specifically, but you should join a bike club if that's your thing, like a cyclist club. Now, I have my own men's community, and one of the reasons why I built it was I got tired of getting into men's groups where it's like, some guys are, well, happy life, George, sort of thing, and it's like, okay, dork, I don't want to hang out with you and I don't want to listen to your shit, and you're probably the kind of guy that's going to introduce havoc into the group, right? So I created my own men's community. I call it the 1%. And if you're interested in looking into that, it's global. We're around the world. We've got well over 500 members. We meet up on a regular basis. You can look at the page. It's pinned below. It's just entrepreneursandcars.com/community. If you're unplugged, if you're red pilled, if you will, and you're interested in connecting with other guys, top shelf guys that are doing cool shit, I would encourage you to look at that. Join men's groups. And again, it doesn't have to be mine. You like fighting? Join a dojo. You like fishing? Join some kind of fishing club. You like running? Join the runner's room. Whatever floats your boat, whatever happens to be your jam, that's one of the things that you should look at. We talked about some of the risks, and so to recap, we talked about some of the risks, some of the problems. We talked about some of the red flags. We talked about some potential solutions. I invite you guys to take a serious look at all of them, because it is possible to get into a long-term relationship with a woman and have a good experience and not complicate your life unnecessarily and have her be a complement to your life and all of those good things. I've done it. It works. But you have to guard your inner circle. You have to guard your time. You have to guard the people that you let in and around you. And when you do that, and you're discerning in your taste with the woman or women, if you choose to have multiple girlfriends, whatever your choice may be, the woman that you invite into your inner circle, your close inner circle, she better be a compliment to your life. The big problem that guys do is they overlook red flags. They overlook problematic women. They overlook women that complicate their lives unnecessarily because they're lonely, because they don't have better options, because they don't have male friends that can hold them accountable and to standards. You want to have a better experience in life, guys? Raise your standards. Don't date loser women. Don't date chaotic women. Don't move chaotic loser women into your household and potentially ruin your life or expose yourself to unnecessary risk. Why? If you can take one piece of advice from this, that's it. Do that. Anyway, I think this pretty much encompasses the ultimate guide to dating in your 50s and what guys should be paying attention to and what's in a lot of your blind spots. Younger men, pay attention to this because you will be running into this problem. The older you get, the more you're going to find that women don't add much benefit to your life because you start to have these experiences and you unplug. You may go through divorce. You may deal with whatever it is that you happen to deal with. So be discerning. Anyway, check out the top pinned comment for a bunch of useful stuff that I'm affiliated with and that I recommend, including my book, my community, a bunch of other stuff. Leave a comment below and let guys know what your experience has been. And of course, like the video for the algorithm. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.